I will tell thee, Gilgamesh, of a mournful mystery of the gods, how once, having met together, they resolved to flood the land of Shuruppak. Clear-eyed Ea, saying nothing to his father Anu, nor to the Lord, the great Enlil, nor to the spreader of happiness Nemuru, nor even to the underworld prince Enua, called to him his son Ubaratat, said to him, Build thyself a ship, take with thee thy near ones, and what birds and beasts thou wilt. Irrevocably have the gods resolved to flood the land of Shuruppak. Happy New Year to you wherever you are. I'm going to read from fragments of an unknown teaching. Ouspensky says this: I remember another conversation. What is your opinion of modern psychology? I once asked G, with the intention of introducing the subject of psychoanalysis, which I had mistrusted from the time when it had first appeared. But G did not let me get as far as that. Before speaking of psychology, we must be clear to whom it refers, and to whom it does not refer, he said. Psychology refers to people, to men, to human beings. What psychology can there be in relation to machines? Mechanics, not psychology, is necessary for the study of machines. That is why we begin with mechanics. It is a very long way yet to psychology. Gurdjieff says here that we begin with the study of mechanics, and the introductory instructions in his teaching relate to that, whether that means the hard physical labour that he gave to people for weeks until they broke down, or self-observation, or simply being fed by the hand by the teacher. All these things seem to me to be very important. To come out of the world is a very difficult thing. It's very frightening, really. Many people are frightened just sitting quietly or switching the television off, let alone trying to re-enter a traditional line of knowledge. And Gurdjieff is saying here that a real man does have psychoanalysis, he does have a psyche, he does have material and character of that dimension that relates to him as an individual creature of God. And that's quite a different view from the popular view today, that you can be oneness or awareness, that you've made it. But I often think, and I think Osho made this point a lot, what good would heaven be if there weren't any poets or singers, or even any pain? People are wishing to reach a final state when there is no suffering and therefore no work. But that actually is more a reflection of simply living in a very chaotic world where humanity doesn't seem to understand anymore who he is or what the goals are. So he craves some kind of medicine to take the pain away, and religion is seen in that light. But a more natural way is to feel yourself as a part of nature, and always having work no matter which scale you live at. And that's a beautiful idea, that the work never stops, really. And the field that is ploughed at a low level may be seeming very different, really, to the field that is ploughed in a higher world, but a field is ploughed. A field must be ploughed. So I will continue with this passage. Ouspensky. Can one stop being a machine? I asked. Ah, that is the question, said G. If you had asked such questions more often, we might perhaps have got somewhere in our talks. It is possible to stop being a machine, but for that it is necessary first of all to know the machine. A machine, a real machine, does not know itself and cannot know itself. When a machine knows itself, it is then no longer a machine, at least not such a machine as it was before. It already begins to be responsible for its actions. This means, according to you, that a man is not responsible for his actions? I asked. A man is responsible. A machine is not responsible. This afternoon I walked past a parked car with hugely irritating LED lights beaming out of the front, and you see that everywhere these days. The reason for that, the reason for the demand for these LED synthetic lights, is that people are becoming physiologically and psychologically and energetically changed by staring at plastic screens of the world's greatest fools creating content on the internet. People are becoming attuned to this sort of machinery, and they're becoming not exactly synthetic people, but synthetically deformed people. And that is where the demand for all this high-tech stuff comes from. It is people are craving the priming that they have had. They are grown in a kind of matrix of screens and all the deterioration that comes from that, and then they demand it in their society. And surely that must tell you something about how society should be run, and how society certainly should not be run. And also in relation to the poetry from Gilgamesh, the sense that human life is in jeopardy, and I suppose it always is but the truth is that the quality of human beings seems to be deteriorating rather rapidly these days in the aforementioned way, and do things that count. The time may be short, we can't be too worried, of course, but let us do the best possible job we can. I'll continue. In the course of one of our talks, I asked G, what in your opinion is the best preparation for the study of your methods? For instance, is it useful to study what is called occult or mystical literature? In saying this, I had in mind more particularly the tarot and the literature on the tarot. Yes, said G. A great deal can be found by reading. For instance, take yourself. You might already know a great deal if you knew how to read. I mean that if you understood everything you have read in your life, you would already know what you are looking for now. If you understood everything you have written in your own book, what is it called? He made something altogether impossible out of the words tertium organum. I should come and bow down to you and beg you to teach me, but you do not understand either what you read or what you write. You do not even understand what the word understand means. There's something that I notice very frequently in people who purport to study Gurdjieff or the Fourth Way, is that they do not live like Gurdjieff. They do not develop themselves in multiple directions. They do not challenge themselves with real tasks. They do not push themselves beyond their bounds. They do not. But you must. Otherwise, it's insincere. It is the difficulty itself that will make you a man. I mean, that has to be the mantra that you say to yourself. It is the difficulty itself that will make me a man. Anything that is not difficult is useless. Certainly reading. If Ouspensky didn't understand his books, then why would anybody else? And the reason is that the intellect and the body and the feelings have to be knitted together in a simple way, in the way of a child. Being like a child means that your hands and your mind and your heart are one. That's all it means. It's a small thing. It's a small thing. It's a tiny, 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 small thing. But it is the seed of everything. Everybody's trying too hard, reaching too high. They don't get it. And the higher you reach, the worse things will get. Tiny hands. Gurdjieff says, "Yet understanding is essential, and reading can be useful only if you understand what you read. But of course, no book can give real preparation. So it is impossible to say which is better. What a man knows well, that is his preparation. If a man knows how to make coffee well, or how to make boots well, then it is already possible to talk to him. The trouble is that nobody knows anything well. Everything is known just anyhow, superficially." And I was remembering in my own life that for a certain period I had to clean the boots of the football team after sport.